it'll be interesting to see how these two get along.
Indeed.
It looks like the race is just about to start. So without further ado, let's go see some Cuphead.
Yeah, the winner of this match will go on to face Lori the Beaver in the second round of the losers bracket.
Yeah,
it seems Ihrving has started and Justin hasn't started yet. So, okay, there you go.
Yeah, so it may be an issue of stream delay or something.
Potentially.
But yeah, so both of these runners, Ihrving is going into the tutorial as we would expect. And I would imagine doing the same thing. I don't think he does a different route.
Alrighty, as you can hear, we currently have the audio for Justin right now.
It did. Oh, there we go. Okay, looks like the streams are in sync now. So yeah, so this is AB Glitchless current patch. Ihrving missing the early tutorial exit, while Justin gets it, so they're about even now.
Yeah, conveniently ties up the race early on, so we can get an accurate comparison.
Very much so. So you'll see that both of these runners have collected 4 coins at this point. They're going to go to the shop and buy Spread, which will be the only coins we pick up during the race, the only weapon we pick up during the race. So both of these runners opting not to do any of the run and guns, and just focusing solely on the bosses.
This match will get red hot.
You can notice that already Ihrving has slowly pulled ahead, and that's just from general optimizations and just faster clicking when it comes to menuing and things like that. So any small advantage you can get can already put you ahead.
Yeah, very much so. There's a lot of very tough, very long bosses toward the end, and so the more of a lead you can get early on, the better off you'll be later. But that also means that anything can happen until the race is over. We have seen races this tournament decided by a single death right at the end of the devil fight. So it is entirely possible that any one of these runners could advance. So Ihrving with a 49-second root pack, Justin with a 48. So doing that fight slightly faster. But yeah, the root pack is pretty much the easiest boss. I don't know anyone who would argue that. The attack patterns are very easy, very simple to dodge, and none of the phases actually move, so you don't have to worry about that either. In fact, I think this may be the only one I've seen done blindfolded. That was quite a treat to watch. Both of them moving into Ribby and Croaks now.
Justin currently getting the better RNG, at least for this fight. Starting off with the flies first.
I'll let Ihrving get the skip. Looks like he did. See if Justin can do the same.
And it seems he did not, so he's going to be getting 1 attack in phase 2. This is going to put him behind by a bit.
Right. So it is possible, as I'm pretty sure we saw it on Ihrving's screen. It is possible if you do enough damage to the boss to either get a quick kill on it if you're late enough in the fight, or at the very least skip an entire phase. It's much harder to do in current patch because we don't have the benefit of weapon swap glitch to increase our damage, but it is still possible. And this is allowed because despite this being glitchless, we don't see this as a glitch. You're not doing anything to glitch the game. Everything you're doing is intended. You're just extremely efficient at it. So Ihrving moving on to Ruse of an Ooze, Goopy Legrand, as Justin gets a knockout on Ribby and Croaks. Goopy is another real simple fight. He basically, for the first two phases, jumps around the screen, tries to hit you every once in a while, and that's about it. See Ihrving there taking a little bit of a damage boost to get inside the boss's hitbox and launch the Spread EX. This attack is a radio attack. It goes off in 8 directions, and so if you can get in the middle of the hitbox, you can actually hit with all 8 of the bullets, which is doing the most damage possible with that weapon. So there's a 41 from Ihrving. We'll see how Justin does. And Ihrving will be moving on to the first plane fight of the game. First, he's got to actually unlock the ability to turn into a plane, which, luckily for us, we can just skip out of, because it's slow to move across the screen and hit exit. Much faster to just quick exit like that.
So Hilda and Cagney are probably two of the fights in World 1 where you can save a lot of time, depending on how RNG as well as just your luck with certain attacks goes. Especially with Hilda, as a lot of damage boosts and other things like that come into play, and if you are particularly unlucky, you can take arguably one of the first deaths in the entire run, which can set you back, especially in the later phases.
Yeah, you saw Ihrving then, you'll probably see it right here as well. Yeah, he is damage boosting as Hilda is getting ready to go into her phase change. What this allows for is the bullet EX with the plane's machine gun to hit her as much as it possibly can along that horizontal path.
And there it is, as I mentioned, unlucky with the spacing of certain attacks and got wedged into a unfavorable spot and took a death there, sadly.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that death did set him back a little bit, allowing Justin to come within a single phase difference. So Justin is doing really well in trying to catch up, taking advantage of that mistake on Ihrving's part.
It'll be interesting to see if Justin goes for the early second phase nuke.
Yeah, and you see Ihrving there actually deciding to play it a little safe and opt not to do that damage boost and keep an extra hit point there. So you see Justin doing the same thing.
So
Justin still has full health too, so.
Yeah. It's interesting to see how some people, they will gamble EX to try to get the nuke and then potentially get another EX card back to do the second damage boost, but sometimes you have to be very lucky for that to happen. Now both of them going into the final phase now.
Yeah, weapon switching is allowed in Glitchless, but this is current patch, so if you're referring to the weapon swap, the glitch involved with that, that has been patched out. And even if this was Legacy, where that is still a thing, we do consider that a glitch, and so it would be banned regardless.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they can't switch, but you just can't.
Unless it was implicitly a glitch tournament, then like they can't do it. Even down to certain minor glitches, such as menu glitch in or shop glitch. You can't even do things like that, or dialogue equipping. Alright, Ihrving moving on to Cagney, arguably where the run starts to get difficult.
Yeah, a lot of people, Isle 1, seem to have a lot of trouble with Cagney. Surprisingly, the first boss I ever S-ranked. I wasn't even trying, it just happened. I was very shocked by that. But
I think the first boss I S-ranked was Sally Stage Play, because...
yeah, I can see that, yeah.
Alrighty. So far, neither of them having too much particular issue with the bosses so far. Ihrving moving on to a quick final phase. Jumping up every single time an attack goes for the first platform, just so you can deal consistent damage, and getting a quick kill there.
Justin not too far behind, just moving into the last phase himself. Attempting to do the same strats of jumping and using a P-Shooter EX to hover in the air just a little bit longer and avoid that attack. That was a nice finish by Justin as well. Both players will now be moving on to Aisle 2.
So far, after Aisle 1, this race is only down to maybe 15-20 seconds of space, which could just be a couple of bad RNG bosses or even a quick death at the start to match back up.
So Ihrving opting to go for Baroness first. Typically, we will see runners either go Baroness like Ihrving did, or go down to Beppy. I would imagine this would mean that Ihrving is probably going to pick up the bombs.
Most likely. Either he's intending to just go and do certain strats, or he's intending it just for being safer. If maybe he's seeing that he's ahead and doesn't want to risk a death on one of the upcoming flying levels.
Yeah, we see Justin opting to go for Beppy instead. Ihrving getting some really good RNG first phase, getting the gumball machine. A very quick, easy phase to get through. Getting some pretty bad luck on the other two, though. Muffin being rather difficult to hit at times, and the Jawbreaker much easier to hit, but the death animation takes a long time compared.
Yeah.
We don't want to see that.
Ihrving opting to play it safe right now and managing to get a kill. Not wanting to try to rush it out there at 1 HP.
I don't blame him at all. Justin, meanwhile, on 1 HP, moving into Beppy's last phase. It's an extremely dangerous phase.
Depending on the placement of the penguins, this could be pretty easy or pretty bad.
Yeah, especially on 1 HP. But apparently that is Justin's specialty. That is the patented Justin strats. Finish every boss 1 HP.
There we go, Justin getting the kill there.
Yes, very, very nice. Very clutch fight from Justin.
Ihrving not having too much issue during phase 1 and able to get the early nuke. And now you'll see here... Oh, wait. Okay, I was gonna talk about the strat with the bombs for this one, but I'm guessing he's just opting to just do damage. You can, if you pick up the bombs, do a strat where you shoot the pillars 4 to 5 times, depending, and then fire a bomb to do an extra bit of flat damage. Some people opt to do it, others don't really bother doing it because, like, it saves a bit of time by doing some extra damage, but otherwise not too much.
And getting a nice sarcophagus phase there. Moving on to the next phase of Jimmy with only 1 HP. Again, not the worst position to be in. You know, the remainder of this fight isn't usually too bad. Opting to do something I don't think I've seen before, and getting behind the bullets that the puppet shoots out. Completely eliminating that factor from that.
Depending on where you place the hat, it's a bit of a safer strat, but otherwise it can make you lose out on some of the EX. And Ihrving getting a decent kill there, nothing too risky.
Yeah,
it should, 136.
It should be said that you know, this is a race setting, so you may see our runners opt to go for more safe strats. When you're doing things like trying to PB and get a record, you want to play as risky as possible, because ultimately that's where you're going to save time. But in a race, it's much more important to be quick, but be able to finish because you don't know where your opponent is, and any potential lead you might have could be lost if you start dying, or any potential any time that you're behind would just get worse if you keep dying. So there's a nice trade-off here between going fast and being risky, and going a little slower and being safer.
I mean, who needs speedrun strats when you just got style points from having 1 HP?
Let's see, Ihrving moving on to Beppy's final phase with 3 HP. Very nice. Meanwhile, Justin will be heading over to Bonbon.
Runner tries to save as much time as possible due to having picked up the bombs and having to have extra walking distance back. So it'll be interesting to see if Justin can't close the gap a bit with a decent Bonbon time.
You're getting the candy corn, which is a pretty nice RNG for the minions. See what else he gets. If you remember, Ihrving did have some pretty bad ones. Justin getting the muffin, so could be a lot better.
I'll think get the quick kill and moving to safety first.
And Justin getting the gumball machine for the 3rd phase. Very nice. For the most part, I mean, pretty good RNG all around, aside from.
Here's a real high-class bout. You're up.
So we're about, I would say, in terms of the number of bosses, we're roughly halfway through. Ihrving does have a slight lead by a few phases of a boss. So in chat, why don't we place bets as to who you think is going to win? Is it going to be Ihrving, or is it going to be Justin?
Justin, arguably one of the chat favorites so far, with his 1 HP clutches. Now, Willy Warbles, arguably for a lot of people, comes down to the last phase with how the boss can go, and Ihrving going into it with 1 HP, depending on which way this goes. Okay, they got the good RNG. So as long as they don't forget where the pills are coming from, they should be fine.
Seeing a Justin, seeing an Ihrving, seeing another Ihrving.
Someone voted the devil.
Yeah, because let's be real, the devil is the true winner here.
I don't know. I wouldn't say my day was a winning day if I got beat up by 2 cups.
Very true. Justin just about to move into the last phase of Wally Warbles. Any moment. Now, there we go. And Ihrving moving into what I would think many people would consider the first real run killer of the route. Casually, Grim Matchstick tends to be pretty difficult, even more so from a speedrunning perspective, especially with these strats where you have to stay close to them. It can be very dangerous depending on what attacks you get.
Yeah. The combination of having to micromanage your placement in conjunction to the platforms that are available to you, while trying to deal optimal damage, which is usually spread at close distance, makes the boss pretty difficult, especially when you compare it to similar bosses like Honeybottom, which are similar but still a bit different with their own styles.
One thing I don't think we mentioned during the tournament as we saw Justin do there, is actually walk around behind the mountain. This is an intended shortcut to get from Wally Warbles to Grim Matchstick. Ooh, and Ihrving taking a death there.
Justin having an opportunity to catch up now that the race is pretty much tied up. I think Justin's slightly in the lead in terms of just during the boss time, so
yeah, just
that
getting a
this
little
race
bit of
much closer.
Yeah, getting a little bit of extra damage in there while Ihrving was reloading the fight. But yeah, the shortcut in Isle 2 makes it so that we can get from Wally to Grim without having to do any of the run and guns. So very much intended, very much an essential part of this route. It cuts out an entire stage that we don't have to do.
Yeah.
There's actually a similar shortcut in Isle 1 and in Isle 3. The Isle 1 shortcut isn't useful. It just lets you get to the run and gun earlier. And the one in Isle 2, or Isle 3, I should say, is only useful really in Simple, because it allows you to skip Dr. Call.
Ihrving taking another last phase death, so giving Justin an opportunity that if he can get a boss clear right here, can push himself comfortably in the lead.
Justin being very careful not to get hit by those.
And there we go, Justin clearing Grim and starting to move on. That's one thing that no matter how much you practice, you can always just have a bad string of luck, especially if it's your least favorite boss in the game. So that's why it's important to practice every single boss. Right. Because you'll never get the same boss twice, even with RNG. So now Justin moving on to World 3.
Yeah, I want to certainly emphasize that this is still a very close race. We still have a total of 9 bosses left to go on Justin's side. Some of the hardest, some of the longest fights in the game. There's still a lot of room for Justin to make a mistake.
This is arguably in running, especially even at some of the higher ranked people. You'll start to see a lot of mistakes or people slowing down intentionally to try to get safer strats. Because it's at this point that, depending on where you're at, especially if you're winning, you don't want to take a death here, because that can allow people to really catch up.
Alright. Just moving on to the second phase of Honeybottom. If he does enough damage here, which I don't think is going to happen based on his attack pattern. But it is possible to quick kill her and prevent her phase 3 from happening. And since I always forget to do this, oi, oi, oi.
You. Alright, let's see if Justin can get the quick kill, and he does. A really good kill.
Oh, yeah, that was really nice. I was not expecting that. Yeah, the third phase of Honeybottom is definitely her worst phase. She sits at the bottom of the screen and either tries to whack you with some saws or shoot some fist missiles at you. And because of where her hitbox is located, it can be very hard to hit her with spread.
Yeah.
And so,
arguably during this run, you want to use spread as much as possible, as it does the highest damage out of both weapons that you will have.
Right.
And a lot of times it'll force you, and Ihrving just getting it at the end. Like the last possible frame you could probably kill her at. Okay, now this will be an interesting boss to see, because earlier in the run, Ihrving picked up the bombs, and this is arguably where you save the most time. I think you can save up to about 10 seconds, 8 seconds, 10 seconds on this boss, if you have bombs for this starting phase.
Yeah, the reason bombs work real nice is that you can actually, if you aim it correctly, you can hit the heart and the bottom portion of the robot in the same shot.
Yeah, so instead of having to micromanage the damage of both sections, you just have to hit one and both will go down within the spacing of 1 to 2 bombs of each other. Ihrving actually opting not to use the bombs, instead going for some EXs to go through.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a smart idea, but he's not taking any damage yet.
Commentator's curse.
So he's still doing very well, Ben. This fight could be going a lot worse for him.
Yeah. Another good use for the bombs is whenever the scientist gets out of direct shot, you can just fire a missile, and the arching nature of it will hit him.
Justin, moving on to Sally's stage play. Not
arguably
fight,
one of the most mismatched third category bosses in the
oh
entire
yeah, I was
game.
gonna say not one you want to sleep on, but like easily, like out of any of the World 3 bosses, it's like probably the easiest one. Definitely the one. It's almost a little bit of a lull in the run. There's not a lot going on.
It can be deceptively annoying though if you get some bad RNG on phase 2 and 3.
Very true.
Because some attacks can just, if you don't micro them really well, can just catch you unprepared and just kill you. Especially if she decides that she wants to show off her rat toy collection.
And there she goes. It's a very nice rat toy collection.
I think the worst RNG I've gotten for her is that she spawned one, did one attack, and immediately spawned more. And so I had to sit there for an extra, like, 10 seconds just going, please let go, please be gone with all these rats.
So yeah, we're...
Justin opting for a damage boost because the meteorite is a free attack, it doesn't bother you. And the big wave is programmed to automatically remove the meteorite from the stage, whether or not you shoot it, as long as the attack passes through.
Yeah, about the only good the meteorite does is attacking it gives you a pink star, which you can use to parry over the wave. So if you're opting not to damage boost through that, you definitely want to be attacking that meteorite.
Yeah, generally the only time you'll see people use that, Ihrving actually using that now, is if you are on low HP or you're going for like an S rank run. But generally in this run, you will not see people use it too often.
Let's see. Come on, Ihrving.
Ihrving nearly getting taken out by a rose there. And the umbrella catching him off guard.
He was doing really good at catching up there, and yeah. That's the thing about deaths in this game. They're not as costly as they are in some other games. You know, any upgrades you have as far as weapons and charms and things like that stay with you permanently once you get them.
They stay through deaths, you know.
So about the only real loss here is just the time spent getting to that far in the fight. Certainly, we want to see the runners not die, but if they do, it's certainly better to do so in the beginning of the run, where you've only lost a few seconds, as opposed to upwards of a minute, minute and a half in some of the later fights.
Yeah.
Justin getting a fairly nice Werner right now. Let's see if he can finish him off.
And he does.
Does. Very nice.
Ihrving, even though with 3 HP, is still opting to get the safe meteorite.
Yeah, I don't really blame him at this point. He's already died a few times. Might be feeling that he's a little behind. Couldn't hurt to have a little extra safety net there.
Yeah, most of the World 1 bosses, with the exception of Hildeberg, generally you can take a death, like there's some of the shorter ones. Then there are bosses like King Dice, where if you die on those, can basically just destroy your chances of winning, because depending on when you die, that's a full 2 minutes that you now have to redo.
Right. Justin moving into Captain Brinybeard. One of the busiest fights in the game, I think. There's a lot going on here you have to really pay attention to.
You gotta pay attention to... Yeah, he can attack you with 3 different attacks at the same time on screen. He can attack you with the bucket, whatever he himself is doing, and then whatever the boat is doing.
Yeah.
If you're really unlucky, you failed the micro for the barrel, and it just... everything is attacking you at once.
See, doing very nicely so far.
Ihrving taking another death on final phase Ihrving.
If I'm not mistaken, Justin is still deathless, right?
Yes.
As he is moving into the last phase of Brinybeard. A really interesting fact that I don't think a lot of people realize is that this laser here is parryable.
Yeah. Another fact is that most people don't know is that you can actually kill him before he actually fires his laser attack, if you do enough damage. And that can save quite a considerable amount of time, because during that first phase, you're not doing too much. Ihrving taking another death, this time on the second phase.
Yeah, I know.
Too much luck with these World 3 bosses.
I don't blame him. There's some very tough bosses here. You really have to be paying attention to what the boss is doing and what attacks they're throwing at you and figure out the best way to avoid those. But yeah, Ihrving, I can imagine at this point, is getting pretty flustered. Yeah, at this point, having died numerous times, especially in a race setting, I can't imagine what they are thinking right now. But the important thing is for Ihrving to stay calm and try not to let the bosses get to him. Just focus on the game, focus on getting through, playing a bit safer if you have to. You really don't want to keep dying, and the more it happens, the harder it is to not get annoyed with the game.
Ihrving finally clearing out. That's it. We're in our war, man. Moving on. Getting, I think, a better time than Justin did, but obviously the deaths accounting for some of that.
Right. See, Justin moving on to Phase 3 of Calamaria. Looks like he's opting to stay as close as possible to her to avoid the stone gaze.
Yeah, for people that are new to the speedrunning scene for Cuphead, for some reason the attack for the stone gaze in Calamaria's final Medusa phase has a weird property where only the front cone of it, when it's fully out, will do the stone gaze. So if you're right at the front of her, it won't actually turn you to stone, even if it fully hits you.
Yeah, and Matty Kenny making a great point in chat that anything could still happen to Justin. There are 3 bosses left, and they are the longest, I would say, in the game. At least the
arguably the 3 hardest bosses. Even certain people like SPD Wolf, who recently took back the world record for this category, very dominantly, has said that the devil for him is his worst boss, or even just the worst boss in a run.
Yeah, the devil, the first phase in particular, tends to be a little dependent on RNG based on what attacks you get, and making sure you get some good attacks to be able to do as much damage as possible. But yeah, I don't want to count Ihrving out yet. He is a little bit behind and has some catching up to do, but it's certainly possible for Justin to make enough errors to allow Ihrving to catch up or even take the lead.
Okay. Justin opting not to do the short hops, which is a trick some runners do for these bosses.
Short hop mentioned...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I can wait.
I was gonna say short hopping, for people that don't know, is generally just lightly tapping the jump button as the least as possible to get a very short jump, so that during certain attacks where you would regularly just jump up and hit their hitbox, you can just deal point blank damage and not worry about getting hit.
You see Ihrving taking yet another death on Briny. And at this point, again, just got to be pretty flustered. As
And the important thing is that he has not given up yet so far.
Right. Justin looks like he's about to finish off the pain train.
Getting the toot cycle on the on Phantom Express. Yeah, it's important, especially going into the last two bosses of this run, to not count out any runners.
Yeah,
As anything can happen, especially just like a single mistake that like takes a life from you.
Right, Ihrving doing very well getting to that last phase with 3 HP. Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like for people who don't run this to watch this run. Cuphead is known for being an extremely difficult game, and to sit here and watch these runners be able to just do this.
Yeah. Cuphead itself, just playing the game and trying to run it can already be difficult, but trying to do that in a race setting when you're already in the loser's bracket is already a terrifying prospect enough as it is.
Right.
So yeah. In this category, we do fight the devil in King Dice.
Yes, we do.
In certain categories, specifically simple category and any percent, you either end the category directly at the King Dice cutscene, or you will take the Devil's Deal and just immediately end the run there.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who participates in these races, anyone who sticks it out and finishes, definitely deserves major props for just being able to finish and being able to take on what the game throws at them. So definitely go give the runners some love. They're doing fantastic.
So Justin opting to do kind of unconventional route, which is so far 3, 5, and then probably guessing 8 later. Most people usually tend to run 2, 4, and then 8. But there are people that will do 3, 5, 8 if they feel more comfortable with it.
And it just coincidence maybe that the extra hearts happen to line up on 3 and 5 this time. I don't know if that factored into Justin's decision to go that route at all.
Yeah.
I think he might be one who does this anyway, and maybe just got really lucky, but...
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see in the aftermatch interview to see if that affected his decision or if he was already planning on going for that route.
Oh, well, the heart's on 8 too. Dang. Very nice heart RNG for Justin there.
Yeah, the hearts are randomly selected every single time that you go into the boss fight, and so generally they won't be the same twice, and so sometimes you can go into a boss fight and have them perfectly line up, like in this case, or you can go into it and have nothing line up and you have to do the entire thing with 3 HP.
2C Plus mentioning that Justin usually goes for the hearts. So I imagine that he probably quickly noticed that the hearts were on 3, 5, and 8. I mean, he was going to do 8 anyway, I'm sure, because the others are just slow. But at least with 3 and 5,
no one goes monkey on purpose.
Yeah, 2C Plus. Anyway, the only real trap in King Dice here that Justin has yet to face is getting over the second to last space, which is a start over space. but doing so, no problem whatsoever.
Ihrving needing to be careful right now. Fell off the platform halfway through that fight and lost some HP going to the final phase. Yeah, Ihrving comfortably with 4 HP in that final fight. Like, no issue finishing that off.
Yeah, if you know what you're doing and have practiced King Dice enough, you can certainly do that fight without having to, get any extra hearts at all.
Yeah.
And so at that point, it becomes a matter of preference. Do you go for the extra safety, maybe going a little bit out of your way to grab it, or not? Yeah.
Ihrving taking a final phase death again against Phantom Express.
Yeah, still, I mean, at this point, it's pretty much Justin's, but
it's Justin's race to lose at this point.
Yeah, very much so. If Ihrving or if Justin gets in here and just chokes hard on the devil, then Ihrving still has a chance.
Okay, well, the devil, hearing everyone's pleas in chat, did the arguably the worst attack in the entire game. But Justin not having too much issue with it.
Oh.
Yeah, the little pinwheel of flames is arguably, even with top runners of the game, considered the worst attack in the entire game. Just because of the almost random nature to it and the fact that basically heat seeks onto you the entire time.
And imagine
Justin trying to go for safety there, but taking a hit from the flames and going in with 1 HP into this final phase.
Or was
Not
he
the
trying
greatest
to go
of
for Justin's
situations.
strats? Oh.
And then falling off the platform. Again, at this point, it is Justin's race to lose, so it's all up to him.
Yeah, that kind of, I mean, I'll make sure to ask him about it afterwards, but that almost looked like it happened on. But at that point, you might as well retry as well. I mean, why? I don't know, hard to say, but it looked to me like it was on purpose, which I don't blame him. I mean, granted, he doesn't know how far ahead he is, but...
Justin getting arguably the second worst attack that the devil can do, which is the spiders. Because it is entirely... Like, you can barely do any damage, and the pinwheel comes back again. Not wanting to be outdone by its spider counterpart. Justin taking a hit on the devil because his hitbox is still active when he goes into his skeleton phase. A fact a lot of new players learned the hard way.
Right. And Justin doing a very nice race overall, but going deathless up until that fight.
Yeah, the devil can screw over a lot of people.
Yeah,
case in point, SBD, who arguably is one of the best runners for this category, took a death in his world record, or one of his previous world records, by just getting some bad luck on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or case in point, if you look at the Jason Williso race from a couple of days ago, I mean that was a race that was entirely decided by Jason taking a death right at the end of the devil. Justin doing a lot better getting into final phase of the devil with full HP.
Now, if Justin really wants to make this interesting, he'll take 2 intentional damage and go for his famous 1 HP strats.
Yeah, it's funny because there was an all bosses expert race yesterday, and Luigi was so far ahead that we convinced him to do King Dice all bosses hitless. That worked for about 10 minutes, and and then he kind of gave up on that. But
Ihrving taking a reset. I'm guessing he got a bad dice roll that he didn't enjoy, or just took some HP damage.
But unfortunately, at the same time taking that reset, Justin finishes off the devil with an official SRL time of 43:29. GG, Justin.
Let's get some GGs for the winner of the race, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. It was mentioned earlier, we kind of very quickly glossed over it because other things are going on. But we did actually have, within the past day, have a nice new world record in this category. SPD Wolf beating Luigi's previous record by about 30 seconds, getting the first sub 32 in this category.
Yeah,
We expect that one's going to stay for quite a while.
definitely. And now, while we are getting some GGs in chat, let's get some motivational words for Ihrving to finish off this race strong.
Yes, very much. Let's see if just
Ihrving opting to go for the safety of getting the hearts. I'm trying to get Justin in here now to get an after match interview.
Yeah, let's see.
Oh, yeah, drag him down here.
Oh,
There he is.
Ihrving on 1 HP.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, welcome.
Does
Justin.
my microphone finally work?
Yes.
Well, congratulations, Justin, on the first win of the losers bracket.
Thanks. What happened? What happened?
Yeah, the devil really didn't like you there. We were talking about it and how you got pretty much the two worst attacks back to back, being
Yes.
Spider and then immediately Pinwheel again.
I got the flames. I got flame weeds like these two types each twice. I think at least.
Yeah, you got them. You got them both times. So, how did you feel about the overall like quality of your run there?
The start was really bad. Probably because a bit nervous or something. I don't know. But really,
I think Ihrving is actually calling it right now for himself.
Yeah, he did very shortly within the
yeah, I
past.
see that on Sweden's Live.
I think.
So
Sam,
very
you want to
unfortunate.
work on getting him in here?
He did say he was going to pass on the interview.
Oh, okay.
For
That's
a run
fine.
like that, I imagine he's pretty frustrated.
Yeah, it's understandable. It was still a really good race all around.
Yeah.
Let's get some more GGs in chat for Ihrving.
Yeah, it was very well fought.
It was a very close race, and then some unlucky RNG had the put him behind.
Yeah, I started off really bad. I had 25 seconds behind gold on the frogs.
Yeah,
I didn't get to skip the certain phase. I don't really know why. I probably just did too little damage.
yeah. It always comes down to that. You probably just like were slightly off in the little bit there.
And then I was behind everywhere until I grew matchstick. I got 6-second gold there, then Woomer Honeybottoms, 13-second gold.
Yeah, your Ruiner Honeybottom is really good.
She didn't even turn into the plane in doing the skip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Most people would get it right at the end there, but you managed to get it, so that was good.
I was really good RNG with the... I got the B missiles, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Ready? So obviously the question we're gonna ask now is, what do you feel like was your best and worst bosses? I think I can probably guess which one was your least
Best was
favorite.
probably somewhere between Grimmer, Woomer, probably Woomer. That was really, really good.
Yeah, that was a really good time on that one.
King Dice was actually... I got really lucky on King Dice. 3 hearts.
Yeah, we saw that. We were wondering
I
if
didn't even die.
you had already planned to go for that route, or if you went for the hearts there.
I wanted 358. I usually do that. Maybe I learned 2-4 in the future, but yeah, 358 is what I'm doing.
Yeah,
right
and
now.
that was really convenient for you then, that all the hearts lined up perfectly for that. Didn't
I
seem like you
probably-
needed them much because you managed to make
Yeah.
it through.
I usually reset until I get at least 1 heart on the route.
Yeah.
For those who may be wondering, we do loadless times on the leaderboards. And it looks like Justin has a loadless time of 37:49.
I improved it yesterday. I haven't uploaded it yet. It was like 36:20 something.
Oh, congrats on that.
And no, wait, was it? On the leaderboard, do I have 3720 or 3620? What do I have there exactly?
I'll check right now. Yeah, Justin, you're gonna be facing against Lori in the next round of the tournament. How do you feel about that matchup?
It's pretty funny. In the seeding race, we had a Discord call with 4 people. There was Potato, Ihrving, and Lori. These are my first 3 matches. Races. Yeah, Lori. Seems to have fun in the chat during the race. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that was a really good race. Good job on that.
Yes, very much. Any other questions or?
I don't think there's much to add.
How far did Ihrving get?
He got to the end of King Dice.
Yeah, he eventually forfeited on a death he took on the 8-ball.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty close.
It was.
I saw that in the seeding race.
It was back and forth between you two, and then Ihrving started to take some deaths that slowly allowed you to just start getting away with it.
Yeah,
You started to catch up at the end when you kept on taking deaths against the devil, but then eventually it was too much.
Yeah, in the seeding race I saw he had over an hour, and but then the first race I saw that looked scarier, so I thought that if he gets a few deaths then it can be really scary.
Nice.
That's actually pretty close, I guess.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see your next matchup. So you did come in right above Laurie in the seeding in about 6 minutes.
Oh, I think in the actual race she forfeited. So I guess she
that's right.
submitted
She
the lot
Forfeited
this time.
during the seeding race.
Time with loads.
That is right. She did forfeit, and I pulled her time from the leaderboard.
Yeah.
So far in this tournament, the one match she has done has been just over an hour.
Yeah.
And
I believe that was her versus who was it?
Lindis's.
Yes.
So that'll be a good race. I think we definitely have some great races coming up, some great matchups in the losers bracket as well as the main bracket.
Pretty much all of the rounds are getting into the second round now.
Yeah.
The last remaining first round is between Jason and Movalin Drone. And so once that's done, everyone will be pretty much lined up again.
Yeah, and actually with the conclusion of, well, I guess actually as of a couple days ago, we have all the round 3 main brackets set up already. So all the round 2 finishing up with Luigi's match the other day. So yeah, we're moving along pretty nicely.
Indeed.
So I guess a little bit about the future of the tournament. We just saw Ihrving versus Justin wind up. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., we're going to have one of the most hyped double races I think we could possibly have. On one hand, we will have Luigi versus Orange Pudding. Luigi, of course, being the former world record holder as of yesterday, and the current #1 seed in this tournament. And then on the other race, we will have Lindisys versus actually you, Potato.
Yeah.
And it actually works out that the winner of each of those races will wind up facing each other in their 4th round.
Yeah, so this will be an interesting way to see the things to come for the next match after that.
Yeah, very very much so. We're talking about the 1st and 8th seed versus and then the 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
Friday at 11:30, we have Miss Dino versus Calava. Also going to be a very nice race.
And then the winner of that will face the winner of TMR versus Williso once that is scheduled, which should be really interesting, especially after Williso had a surprising win for some people over Justin. Which I think they PB'd during that race, didn't they?
Yeah, over Jason, yeah. And then...
In the losers bracket, we have
Sunday
Jason
at
versus
6.
Mobile and Jerome will face off against Optimistic eventually when they finish their match. John Scoutman versus Nicole. Lori versus Justin that we talked about, and then Cutie Roo versus 2+. And then all of those people will move on to face the losers of the upcoming matches.
Yeah, and the QD 2C Plus match is currently scheduled for Sunday at 6. So yeah, we got some really nice races coming up. I think at this point, actually, the only person who hasn't done an actual race in the tournament yet is TMR.
Yeah, he got a round 2 buy-in, and then Optimistic, I think, had to bow out of their original match. So took the loss, and then just TMR was pushed forward.
Yeah, so that'll be an interesting one just to see how he holds up under the pressure of the tournament.
One thing to note, though, is I don't think TMR has actually practiced much this category since the start of the tournament.
I can't imagine. I think we might have mentioned it probably in every race thus far, but he has not really done a patch. He definitely prefers to stick to Legacy. So it'll be interesting to see.
It'll be on paper, everyone chalks him up there as being one of the top speedrunners, but it'll be interesting to see how in practice it goes.
Oh yeah, and that's not to say he doesn't have the skills. It just maybe not as current or as polished as some of our
We'll have to see how much the rust carries over.
Yes.
Alrighty.
But with that, I think that's about it. So again, thank you to our runners for putting on a good show. Thank you, Justin, for coming in and talking with us a little bit.
We need to see that world record by Luigi in some ways.
Look, I want it to happen, so I thought it was gonna happen.
I won't count him out, but I don't think he'll be able to do a race world record with the time that SPD posted.
Yeah, like up until SBD's time yesterday, I'm like, it's gonna happen. He was only like 30 seconds off, and then like he posted the record in the Discord, and I was like, well, race record. Like
he had a death in the world record before that, right?
Yeah, he did. And then Luigi, even then, with a death in the record he was trying to beat, could only beat him by about 8 seconds. So that just tells you how much SPD pretty much just came out of nowhere and just started changing this category. So yeah, I think that wraps it up.
But yeah, so thanks to the runners for running a good show. Thank you, Potato, for joining me on commentary.
No problem.
Thanks for the commentary. I
hope everyone in chat enjoyed the race, and I hope everyone has a good day.
Yeah, and shout out to Speed Gaming for hosting us and working with us to get all this put on for you guys.
Alrighty.
Until tomorrow, catch y'all later.
Yep.